So I've sort of summarized who I think I am, and then a bit about what I think I am. Now, why? And that came simply by me asking. And it was just in solstice, summer solstice, just about a month ago. It was awesome. And what came to me was pretty straightforward, and then I had to sit with that a lot because it was pretty cool. Essentially, I exist for God to have a joyful and loving experience in the creation. And that's the best way. That's the way it came to me. Exactly that. For God to have a joyful and loving experience through you in reality. Didn't say just this reality, he said in reality, in creation. So that night, that evening now, so I had planned to go listen to music. I was gonna have something to eat and listen to some music, and then turn on some meditation music, and just sit for a bit. And I had Mackie Poo, the Wonder Dog, with me, and so I was sort of feeding the animals outside early, and they have their water dish, and this water dish I'll go. This water dish I found, and it's perfect because it's a bunt pan, but a really thick one, a cast one, and it worked great because the robins don't bathe in it. Sorry, I'm trying to close my eyes all the time. I just do because I just think, and it just rolls. But I need to be able to keep my eyes open and communicate. Anyway, and so I was getting ready to change that water, and it's on this awesome pedestal that I painted like purple. It's like really cool. And awesome plants around. So I mean, it's just this little oasis that's just amazing with wildlife. And I was gonna go rinse it out, and with the hose, and I'd done that, the last couple times. But I remember seeing it have some sort of growth on the bottom and the reliefs that was pretty ornamental. And I'm thinking, I gotta clean this proper. This gets back to way before I have a story where I talk about I drink structured water, and so do the animals. Mac when she's with me, and Bubbles when he was here, but not the animals outside. And it's like, are they any different? No, they're not. So they get structured water. So I take their water, the water that I provide for them, very seriously. I even have a heater in the winter. I think it'll work in this. Yeah, it did. Anyway, so I go inside, and I have a really deep kitchen sink. So I make sure everything's clear out of there, clean, gone. And I take vinegar spray and I spray inside the kitchen sink. and I put on a rubber glove, and I go outside and I grab that thing. I'd never grabbed a rubber glove before. I always gone and sprayed with a hose, but still thinking about it with all this is where having the healthy ego, not an overridden ego, because it's not like I'm being anal. I'm just being wise. Why? Because those guys got a bunch of diseases and stuff, and I don't want to be taking that into my home. When I was spraying it outside, I probably should have been more mindful, because at some point, unless you wash your hands outside, which I don't, So anyway, but this time I was very mindful, and so everything was prepared. Grabbed a glove, went outside, took the water out, brought it inside, ran it on very low water, sprayed vinegar, disinfectant in there, and got soap going and water going, very low flow so I wasn't splashing, and got the other rubber glove to clean really well, clean all the crevices. And as I'm doing this, as I said before, everything I do now less but deeper. And I was really doing this deep, really deep. But I was getting a satisfaction back from doing this from the standpoint of the animals. That one I had to close my eyes on. I had to feel the animals. I was feeling the animals. I was feeling sort of their joy as I'm just cleaning the crevices. And the more time I spent to make sure that I got the last little bits, the greater sort of the just contentment got. That's the only way I can describe it, is that just those three energy centers were in sync. I was, open, but it was essentially my aspect of God having a full experience of me being in a joyful and a loving activity. Joyful in the fact that I'm able to provide this amazing clean water for birds and squirrels, the raccoons and the cats, and probably who knows what else. Nothing super huge, I don't think. No. But they all love it. Oh my gosh, they love it. It is just, yes. So anyway, so I got this knowing of this is when we say being in service, it's through service that we know pure joy. So here I am cleaning this watering trough. And anyway, get it outside. I mean, it is spotless. Come back inside, clean everything in the sink, disinfect everything, make sure everything is clean. Go overboard, end up cleaning all around it, but that's fine. That's all part of it. But being very mindful. And Mackie Poo is outside laying on her mat. It's about 6 now, and it's just beautiful outside. It's cooling down, and the trees all have their leaves. And she just loves to move either in and out of the stone, just all over on the go. And so I go outside and I sit in my little deck chair. And no, I take that back. I come outside and she's sitting on her mat, and she's in more of like a sphinx position. That's about what she looks like. She is one serious looking pup. She is a sweetheart, but boy, she is a divine feminine. We'll talk about that with Sophia, but she is a divine feminine, perfect example of divine feminine. And so she's sitting there, and I'm thinking, do I want to go in and go ahead and start my music and sit down and have my meditation and just let Mac rest? And then this knowing came over me. Now, for a couple weeks, a couple months prior, Sophia has come into only because of some understandings and knowings of a little bit more of understanding of where we are and how do we get here. I'm going to get that in another video because that's a whole different topic. But anyway, so I'm wondering, should I go inside and start listening? And I was gonna, again, Sophia's come in. This Aeon. I'll get into this later, but this high being has come into, or spirit has come into my just awareness over the past probably 6 months. Her name is Sophia. And so I've been even honoring her in my space by putting just receiving another piece of artwork, 2 pieces of artwork, like right away as soon as I had an understanding of who she was and sat with her a bit. Wow, yeah, it's anyway, so she sort of has taken over my that being that spirit guide for now. It changes, but that's very strong now. So I'm thinking to myself, and I'm looking at Mac, and I'm thinking, should I go in and start listening to some music? And I got this knowing of why. And it's like, well, I was going to go meditate with some music. It's like, on what? I said, oh, meditate with Sophia. And then it's like, Sophia's right here. I'm looking down at Mac. And again, I'm talking, she's a strong, dominant, loving female, but boy, oh boy, she's strong and dominant. And she's in a position that she's never in. And she is asking for me to come down and give her an amazing massage. That's what she's asking me to do. Now I'll get into the divine feminine and masculine and why the masculine exists and what it does and provides. But in this case, I as divine masculine with this incredible representation of the divine feminine. Now the reason Mac exists for me is I don't have anybody else, and I'm not taking it as a martyr. I just it's just Mac is she provides this perfect, incredible learning opportunity to understand the divine feminine. I'll get into that more when we talk about that in detail, but it's I know it sounds crazy. Believe me, it's not at all, because again, you can experience anything you wish through any life form here. People can do all kinds of things, and so having a relationship with an animal that's more telepathic, that you're actually at a higher level, that it is actually here to teach you things that aren't just superficial, but that are very, very, very concrete, very knowing, very simple, much better than books and stuff, because this one's a knowing, right? This comes from you just don't, it's an intuition. Things are more tied in. We're not just all up in the brain driving the mechanical part. We're actually tying in our energy center into the process. And so I kneel down, and the more time I'm spending with her, and she's got this really strong, long neck. And it's weighty. And when we're out a lot, it's a big thing. It's a big lever up there for her. Does that make sense? So, because her head is really heavy, and it's got to be the brain. Because this dog is the smartest animal I've ever known. I know everybody says that. This one is amazing. So I'm here to learn from her, and Sophia's coming through and saying, "Here I am." And so the more I'm in service to Mac, the greater experience she's having in this realm. She's always been who she is. It's only me not fulfilling the time, the energy, maybe more distracted, and saying, no, I'm going to spend more time with her and not be as distracted. Don't know. Cooking less and baking less because it's summer. And so maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's part of the reason. But anyway, I spent time with her, and as I was rubbing her, particularly through her body, I was telling my friend Jenny this, that I could actually feel, I could sense her sensation through me. It was almost a feedback, and I don't know how to describe it, but it was leading my movements in my deepness. So anyway, it was, I bet I was hovering over her for, had to be an hour. And she rarely stays in that position, by the way. She's always flopping over. I think she finally did, and then she regressed into the armpit, and that's where there's whatever energy centers are in her armpits. Oh my gosh, that just 24/7. If she had to pick a thing over food, sleep, anything, it would be armpit scratches. She would stay awake 24/7 until she died for that. So those energy centers are something in her. But again, this is God having a joyful experience, you know, in a very loving way, a very attention to detail. And the more time I spent with her, the greater I felt. I know it sounds trivial, it sounds trite, it sounds superficial, but it's not when you really just sit and think about that for just a bit. Being satisfied, hovering over a divine one in animal form, and you are just being your divine masculine service through love and joy towards this life form, which without a doubt has, you know, its own wiring and consciousness. It may not see time like we do. They may not have certain limitations, but I can tell you they've got a purpose and path as well. So anyway, so again, this experience of just being here, this experience and feeling this, not dreaming it, not wishing it, but gaining the satisfaction of finding the widest path with my brightest light through whatever's facing me at the time. And that was, again, taking care of that watering trough. And it's, we're talking a couple hours, two and a half, maybe 3 hours. For all of it, who knows? I mean, it went for a while. I didn't get in for a bit, I can tell you that. But it was awesome. And it was, I say that, I mean, I spent time just sitting with Mac after for the armpits and all kinds of stuff. But I didn't get to my music until this probably started till 8 or so, would be my guess, yeah. But boy, it just really struck home. I asked that question, and that's what I got right away. I mean, I didn't have to go sit and think. That's just what came. Yeah. So that's the why of why I'm here. I know it sounds I'm sure probably trivial to some and just ludicrous to others, but it makes sense to me. It makes perfect sense to me. So, and it's how we wish to be in alignment with sort of that overarching core center of God, and that is love. I mean, so remember, that's balance. So doesn't mean everything's all puppy dogs and fairy tales. It just means everything's in balance. There's extremes in every direction that we can experience and do experience, but it will always come back to balance. It has to, because everything's centered in love. So it emanates from source and comes back to source. So it's a big field. It's a big toroidal field that has this energy to it. That's the best way to me to think of the universe. We're in this massive field. When I say, it comes in tiny on itself, and explodes back out. And this is the full energy source. This is where everything comes to rest, null, zero. That's where, that's before God said, let's expand everything. And I don't know, maybe this cycles through, I have no idea. Maybe it takes us 5 billion years to do this. Don't know. Sure does feel like we're coming in on it though, doesn't it? Versus expanding out. I don't think we're expanding much. I think we're sort of contracting just a little bit. But that's okay. That's what we're meant to do. So, that's the best way I can describe to why. So I do ask myself, and I need to do it more frequently because I really do like it, is how am I doing today? How are we doing? Because God's inside. There's no place to go. There's nowhere to go to look for anything. Everything that you need is inside of you. You are God having a human experience. So there's nowhere to go out to find. It's all inside. It's just we cover it up. We don't like the truths of it. And then we lie. So I mean, it just is what it is. It's just, there's no shame in it. We're naive. But some are becoming less naive. I'm thinking I'm one of those, and I'm hoping that some of this resonates with you, and that that means something to you. So anyway, yeah.